July 26th to 30th, those near and afar will gather in the town of Gimli to celebrate film. The Gimli International Film Festival includes a plethora of programming from documentaries, feature films, shorts, workshops, and films on the beach. There's something for everyone. Let's look what it takes to make a short film, and filmmakers Catherine and Anita can help us with that. Let's get into it.
My name is Catherine Dulude. Yes, I'm a very emerging filmmaker. I've been in the industry since 2015, but I started from the association point of area, with OSM, and then I moved on to working in production and eventually freelancing as a writer-director. And this is my first film.
I'm Anita Lebeau. I have been working principally in animation for probably, a good 30 years now, I think, and done some documentaries, but most of what I've done is in animation. First, starting with the National Film Board, I did several films with them, and the last couple of films I've done have been independent, and just got some funding so that I can start my next project.
This is so exciting because we have two people taking different approaches to film. So trying to get to the heart of that is going to be really exciting for our listeners. I guess just, you're going to be competing in the Manitoba Shorts competition. How about we just go over both of your films and, what you'll be exploring in them?
So my short is non-scripted, so more along the lines of a documentary. I self-produced it last year, so crowdfunded, found sponsorships, and did everything myself, which allowed me to hire an amazing team of women. So it's mostly women. I have one man who's the composer. So the topic is body diversity, and it was a topic that's really close to my heart. As a woman, we are, bombarded with images of what we're supposed to look like and how we're supposed to act, and etc. And body image issues has been something for me that, has been present my whole life. But as you start to explore that topic, you realize that most women, especially women, but it's very general now, I feel. But from a women's point of view, most women have had at some point in their lives issues with their body. So I met with Terry Hofford, who's a photographer, but also a body image educator, and she's fantastic. She's just great. So the film is Rosalie, the protagonist, who is 30, now she's 32. But she wanted to better her relationship with her body because she was fed up with having those negative emotions, and decided to do a boudoir shoot. So with Terry, and who, for those who don't know what boudoir is, it's lingerie, very sensual. So exploring sensuality as a woman, and doing it for herself, not for anyone else. And Rosalie just happens to have a disability, and so she's a wheelchair user. But it isn't the focal point of the story. Rosalie is a woman first, obviously. And so we come in her house and we explore her intimate, experience of day-to-day life and how she interacts with her own body because she needs support. And then we go and do this photo shoot, and then we just have the reveal at the end, and just how, it changes her.
Wow. That's going to be really fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your short.
My short is called 8 Rooms, and it was funded by Manitoba Arts Council and the Canada Council for the Arts. In it, I wanted to replicate something that happens to me when I dream. Very often when I dream, I enter rooms that have filled with boxes and to look through, or just curios, or they're looking out at strange locations. And it's just such a common theme in my dreams that I wanted to see if I could explore that through film. But in order to do that, I didn't want to create the rooms myself. I didn't want to create a film that had rooms that I was making, because then there was nothing curious or interesting about them if I was doing that, if I had characters moving through those rooms. So what I did was invite 7 artists to come and join me in this project, and I just gave them the instructions to create a space for my characters to explore. So they created these actual physical spaces. So we've got these dioramas that are, about 2 by 2 by 2, but they're all different sizes. And I we had hoped to do this as a collective, but of course, COVID came along. So we're all kind of working individually in our own spaces. I also created one of the dioramas. And the idea was to bring the dioramas into a studio and eventually photograph them and film them, create footage, because I'm working in 2D in digital animation. So the images and the footage that I brought in were filmed in the studio, and then I brought them in the software, and my characters, I superimposed the characters moving through the spaces that way.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Whoa.
And I also worked with all women, essentially, and I'd love to list their names if that's possible.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to do it in order of when the rooms appeared, but it's Heather Comas, Reva Stone, Susie Smith, Barb Flemington, Shirley Brown, Seema Goyal, and Diana Thornycroft. And the composer was Christine Fellows. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was wonderful.
I think that's the cool part about the Gimli International Film Festival, that it creates this opportunity to bring different films of all sorts of different backgrounds and ideas to people to come and see, as well as people in the industry to work with each other and bounce ideas off each other. Because talking with Alan and all of them, they're talking about, it's like, there's these films and then there's all these workshops that people can attend. So it's really exciting. For short films, I know some people be like, it's a short film. It's way shorter than like a feature-length film. But you have to tell a cohesive story in a short amount of time. What is the process like for that, breaking down the idea and trying to fit it within those sort of restrictions?
It's very different in documentary from, something creative like Anita did. For documentary, for me, it was quite simple. There's still 3 acts, right? We still meet the character, and then we see her explore her quest, going forward, and then we see the ending and the results. So it's I feel like it's more succinct, but some stories I find are better told in shorts because they're more powerful, because you don't have the meandering, some films, especially American films, you feel they could have stopped before, right? I didn't say that.
I've definitely had experiences like that where you're
exactly.
watching a movie and you're like, it just drags on a little too long.
Exactly, and sometimes it's just okay to accept the format and to, celebrate the format and just have it be as powerful as you can in a shorter. Sometimes you just walk away from a short as amazed as it would be for a feature.
And maybe a little more amazed because, maybe you're not as exhausted afterward.
Or you didn't get distracted. I think sometimes, being able to focus for 8-15 minutes is a lot right now for our society. So it's great to have people's attention, for that period of time.
Yeah, keeping things tight in a short is an art, and it is something that you have to be mindful of. Even with my projects with these women, I said to them, you might be lucky to get like 40 seconds of your room being on screen, because it's got to keep moving, and you can't dwell too long in one space before you're going to lose the audience. So you have to be, I have to plan really well in advance for that. The difference with me is that I'm setting something up and having a very tight plan before I even start animating, whereas you probably have, miles of footage that you didn't even use, although I suppose in some ways you can stay pretty tight on that.
Actually, it was pretty tight, because throughout the process of prepping and crowdfunding and etc., Rosalie Best, who is our main character, became a friend, and we would, bounce ideas before we even started and got in the room. And because it's very intimate, so we see her in the morning routine when her aide comes in to help her shower. We had to discuss, not only consent, but what could we see, to which extent could we be involved. And we do get in the washroom where we see her in the shower. It's very respectful and we don't see anything. But because these were intimate moments, conversations had to happen prior, which allowed us to prep, this is going to happen for an hour and then we're going to do this. And I don't feel like we had any extra footage. It was pretty tight.
Oh, that's really good.
So having a game plan before turning on the camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I took a little training class at Film Training Manitoba just to shoot a scene, and as my first time working with actors and shooting a scene, my brain was going all over the place. Like, what if I do this? What if I do this? And in high school and everything, I would work on films with my friends and everything. But that's way different because you can be like, oh, let's try this, let's try this. But when you have a time limit, like I was at Film Training Manitoba, it's a completely different ballgame.
Well, that and a budget.
Exactly. I was just going to say, you have a day and you're paying people and you can't, waste your time too much.
Yeah.
What first got you both interested in film? What was it that yes, I want to dedicate so much time and so much of my brain space to make this idea from inside into a reality?
Well, then, I don't know. In my case, I guess I've always, as a kid, wanted to be a storyteller. And, at first I thought about writing. I mean, I still try to write, but, when I was younger, I thought I'd go to university, and when I graduated in 3 years, I'd be a writer, And, the thing that, and I always been interested in animation. When I was a kid, I think at one time I tucked a note under my mom and dad's pillow and said, can I move to Disneyland and learn how to be an animator? But it took until I went to see a movie with my cousin. I think it was A Fish Called Wanda. And back in the day when they would show films before that, like shorts, it was The Cat Came Back. And, I thought, oh, this is so good. And then I saw that it was made in Winnipeg, and it was like my jaw dropped. It's like, what? You can do animation here. And ended up at an open house at the NFB. I can't even tell you what year it was, probably 1988 or something like that. And I just kind of slowly worked my way into being involved there, with the things that they had going on. And, a lot of it, there were some little courses that I took, but a lot of it was just, doing and also learning from the people who I was working with, because they were better animators than me. So, it's one of those things where it's like practicing piano, right? You have to do it over and over and over again to learn and to stay tuned into it and to get better at it. So I think I'm trusting that that's what's happening with me. So maybe when I'm old.
Do you have any animators that kind of inspire you, that you look at their work and you're like, wow, this is amazing?
God, every animator that I look at, there's always something about what they do that that I'm taking something from. And, I have been working on a project for Cordell Barker, who did The Cat Came Back. And so his comic timing is so excellent that it's just a pleasure to work with him, because he'll change something that I've done, and it's sort of like, oh, that's incredible, that's great. And then there's a whole slew of other animators and that I've really admired, but I don't know. I should bring a ready list, and then I can list them off like I did my artists.
Well, that's okay. Well, I mean, this is a whole separate conversation we could have about animation and the influences. People growing up on anime, and now they're bringing that into their films and shows. It's so cool. Yourself, what inspired you to get into film?
I'm a journalist by trade. So I was trained as a journalist. I am originally from Montreal and moved here to work at CBC. And then I, transitioned to because I preferred longer formats. So for me, the natural, where I'm comfortable is documentary, obviously. So for me, working in film, this is my first film, is a little bit more intimidating because it's not. While this is non-scripted, this short that I'm presenting, the aesthetics is completely different, and the approach by the team, so your DP, your lighting, your audio person, and the synergy within the team is completely different than doing news, which I'm still unlearning. But also I'm pitching at the RBC pitch competition, and that would be my first fiction, and I'm terrified. And I didn't want to say that I was pitching because I don't want too many people. I'm so scared. Doing fiction is a whole other environment, and that I'm still learning the cues, and that's why I'm happy to have some support and reaching out to people who've done it and asking for mentorship and etc. What turned me to film and to audio visual production essentially is perhaps a little bit the ability to tell your stories or stories that matter to you. In the news, sometimes you don't get to choose what would matter most. It's something maybe that is a little bit more trivial at times, and to me it was just a better fit to be in production, and I just happened to take on these big girl shoes of producing my own stuff, and here we are. It's I'm overwhelmed a little bit by the Gimli Film Festival has been so lovely, and so the support and the communication and the resources that they provide to filmmakers is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's one of the best festivals for that. Like, I haven't encountered many festivals that actually pay the filmmakers.
I was shocked too.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, and I think it's free submission too, right?
I think it depends on the time period of the year, but even regardless, I feel like I'm getting more out of this festival in terms of relationship with other filmmakers, and also, not services, but events, and there's so much support that, because my short has traveled a little bit, and I feel, and I haven't been paid yet, so I'm just saying that from the bottom of my heart, this has been so far the best experience I've had.
Yeah, no, you spend a lot of money getting your films into festivals, so this one, it's great that they pay for the screening. But the festival itself, like just in general, it's such a wonderful atmosphere, and it's really, really enjoyable. So I'm very much looking forward to this year.
Yeah, I got to cover the event last year, and it was my first time attending. It was really fun just meeting people, finding out about the history of the film festival, not knowing that it was a branch off of the Icelandic festival there. So that was something that was really cool to learn about. And just, the community coming together and growing and giving so many people the opportunity to share their stories. The Winnipeg Indigenous Film Collective. I'm going to be talking with one of the people from the collective, and it's just a great and really cool thing to see that there's an opportunity and a place to highlight Indigenous created films. I know growing up, when you hear about festivals or things, Indigenous stories weren't really talked about that much in like the broader culture. So having a place like that is just so cool to see how people of so many diverse backgrounds can come and share their stories.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So what are you looking forward to most this year at the festival?
Just to seeing people. With animation, you're very often just kind of working in a kind of a cave for the most part. Although obviously the film was done a year ago, and I've been doing some independent work since then. But, I know a lot of people in the industry, and it's always fun to see them in that kind of an atmosphere. And it's the people. I'm really kind of excited about it's like my old group. I miss the fact that the last time I was there, I was hanging with Dave Barber, and that hurts. But, I know that his spirit will be there in every way. And, but yeah, I can't wait for that.
Well, but for you, Anna, I know like the Saturday is going to be incredibly busy, the pitch and the short film competition.
Yeah, I'm prepping for that big day, obviously, but there's also lots of other events that are going on around it, and I'm pretty excited about that. This year was my first year experiencing festivals because it's my first film. So I'm still always kind of, really excited just to show up and have, some legitimacy being there. So, I'm excited for that Saturday. I hope, there's a lot of people who actually show up and, share the excitement of the pitch competition and then the shorts competition, and then maybe we can all hang out on the beach after.
Well, yeah, there's so many evening events too. Yes. Yeah.
For someone who's looking to get into film, what advice that you wish you would have gotten getting into it?
Well, I've been in the industry for audiovisual production since 2015, so it's new to be an independent filmmaker. And that will sound so boring, but networking is so important. For me, actually, doing my own little projects that are small budget, and you have to have a team of passionate people, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to meet some women who are just really excited about working on projects and being so involved. I was so proud to have an entire female crew on this shoot, and I think it just created such a great vibe, and everyone was just ready to do more and to work together, and just find people who you like to work with, and that will make your life way easier.
As far as animation goes, I would first of all, if you're young, if you're under 21, I would say the best resource is the Sisler Create program. It's an amazing, amazing program. They also have film, and they also do gaming there. So if you're a young person and you're thinking, you're curious about the industry, that would be the absolute best place to start if you can get in. It's obviously limited seats, and it's becoming more and more popular, but it's a phenomenal program. There are lots of animation programs out there. You can also self-learn the way that I did.
The internet is a great thing.
It's a great thing. There's always workshops. I'm hoping I might do a workshop in the fall with Winnipeg Film Group. So those sorts of things will always help. Stay informed. Look at what other people are doing. And
we have a lot of resources here because our industry is pretty big in Manitoba. We have, you mentioned the film group, FTM, Film Training Manitoba, On Screen Manitoba, and we have NFB who's here. We have an office here, and so many different production companies that are very approachable too, right? If you just want to ask questions and say like, "Hi, I'm interested in your work," I think everyone's pretty open. It's a nice, small, tight-knit, I feel, community.
Yeah, there's so many people that I know that have gone to Toronto or Vancouver because that's where the action is, whatever, and then they come back because they realize that it's, just as vital, if not more vital here, and they're not such a small fish here. So
you can try things here.
Yeah, it's a great place for the film industry.
And I'd add, the French film industry, which I mostly work in, we are the largest west of Ontario for sure. It's a very big production. The level of productions this year we've had multiple fictions of multiple $million projects for big broadcasters, and shot and produced entirely here. So this is something important to mention. We are a big hub for French production.
I also do freelance animation for a children's like a French children's series through Manitoba Media.
Oh.
So, that's what they...
La Brigade.
Yeah, La
Brigade.
Yeah. Exactly.
We know everything.
Yeah. Totally. And, they've been doing that for a number of years. They had another show, and they work with a production company out of New Brunswick, which is great. It works out fantastically. They're a great company to work for. But it sort of begs the question, we need to have something here, and it would be great, and because our tax credit is so excellent. And that's why that they're always looking for animators from Manitoba, because the tax credit is so wonderful.
I'd say if you're looking for a job and you're bilingual and you're interested in animation, I think you should stay here and you'll have a lot of work.
Just to wrap things up, how about you just share your film again?
I'd like to Thank My Body is the title of my film, and I hope my goal with this project was to, even if it only changes one person's mind, and to be kinder with yourself. Regardless of if it's a body image issue, if it's something, it's to appreciate yourself for who you are and how you are. And I hope someone watching might walk away feeling a little bit different.
8 rooms, it's really just a way to get you thinking about dreaming, and it's about 2 characters that basically end up in some very strange rooms created by some very fun artists that they get to explore. And for me, the fun aspect of it was combining what I do with the fine artistry of all of these women. And the film has done well. It was at La FIFA. It was nominated at the Yorkton Film Festival. It's been at a number of festivals all over the world. And there's also a visual component, like a gallery show that we've had 2 shows so far where we show all of the dioramas as well as the film. And one was at La Maison, and we have one was in Estevan. We have another one coming up in Yorkton, and one in Kenora, and also one at the AGSM in Brandon.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that's fun to see, because then you can see all of the rooms that were created.
Have any stories you'd like us to share, or communities we should highlight? Leave a comment on our social media, reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was You Talk. And have yourself a good one.